In this episode, we're bringing back the iconic styling of the 70s and 80s with a set of rear window louvers. What's going on, guys? Greg here. Welcome back to the shop for another episode with our project Camaro. And in this video, we are going to start focusing a little bit more on the style of this car. Now, I know our recent wheel upgrade definitely set this thing off, but I'm not done yet. Today, we're going to be installing a set of rear window louvers from a company called Willpak. Now, you may be familiar with louvers. They're really popular on cars from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, let me tell you, they are making a serious comeback, and it's just one of many reasons why we're putting a set on our Camaro. So, let me show you what we're bolting up. All right, guys, here it is. This is Willpak's aluminum rear louver set for all 6th gen Camaros. I am really excited about this mod because I'm a huge fan of rear window louvers. I just think it makes any muscle car look tough. Now, what we're going to do first is assemble this on the bench. This is actually a two-piece construction. Now, we've already kind of slid it together, but there's still some other odds and ends we need to do to really assemble this entire louver. Then we're going to prep our glass on the car. Now, the prepping stage is a very important process to installing a set of these. If the glass is not prepped correctly, this thing could take flight on the highway, so we're going to take some special care there. But anyway, follow along. Let's go ahead and get this installed. Now, it may not seem like it, but this is actually a two-piece construction. Now, to get this whole louver set assembled into one piece, you're simply going to line up these slides on the sides, center, and the other end, and then gently start pushing it together. Now, don't be surprised if you need to kind of apply a little bit of force to get these lined up, if you maybe have to bow it a little bit. It's all normal. You are not going to damage anything. But that is essentially how you slide those two pieces together. And this kit is going to include a set of aluminum splints. Now, the ones with no backing on them whatsoever, just aluminum, are going to be located on the sides of the louvers, and they're essentially all going to provide some extra stability and structure to keep the two halves of the louvers together. The center, on the other hand, is going to use the one with the foam backing on it. This area actually contacts the rear glass of the car, so the foam backing is there to make sure that the glass doesn't get scratched. Now, we're going to go ahead and install these, and then we can mock up the louvers on the car. All right, so you just want to peel the backing, and then we're just going to apply some pressure. All right, next we are installing the side splints. Now again, these add some additional rigidity and structure to the louvers. I'm going to make sure that everything is pushed nice and tight together. And then I'm going to kind of position this right on this line. And then again, with some downward force, just make sure that attaches right. All right, guys, now that we have our splints installed, it's time to move on to mounting plates. And we have 6 mounting plates with our rear louvers for the Camaro. They're simply going to install through these holes on the side of the louver, and using the provided washer and nut, simply just secure them to the louver. And these mounting plates are what's going to actually adhere the louvers to the rear glass. And these nuts allow you to unscrew them to lift the louvers off when you need to clean the glass or make any kind of repairs if necessary. So it's a really nice feature. Now, the reason we're installing these now is so we can test fit the louvers on the rear glass and see where exactly it's going to contact the rear glass, so we can get an idea of where to use our adhesive promoter. But I'll get more to that once we actually get to our glass preparation. All right, now that we have our louvers all assembled, it's time to prep the rear glass on the car. First things first is to clean it with soapy warm water and let it dry. We've already done that because we've actually cleaned the entire car. The next step is to use a mixture of isopropyl alcohol and water, 50-50 mix to be exact, and clean the entire rear glass to make sure that 3M tape adheres. I've got a little bit mixed up in this spray bottle, so we're going to do that now. I'm focusing mainly on the areas that I know are going to have the mounting plates contact, which is this side area of the glass. I'm also using a paper towel so I don't leave any kind of residue or lint on the glass. All right, guys, with our glass prepped, it's now time to test fit these louvers. I'm going to gently drop this onto the rear glass and line this up exactly where it needs to be. Now there's a few things that I need to check. Number one, the position of the louvers on the rear glass. They should be a little bit higher on the rear glass than lower, and that's to make sure that you have enough room to open the trunk. Now if you look from the side, you should be able to raise this up. Perfect. Look, no hinges even get close to the louvers. Excellent. All right, I'm happy with the position of the louvers on the rear glass. Now I'm gonna mark the locations of those mounting plates using some painter's tape. Now you can also use a wax crayon, pretty much anything that you can put on the paint that will not damage the paint, that will just give you the locations of the mounting plates. And now with those in place, we can remove the louvers. All right guys, now that we have our mounting plate locations marked on the car, we can remove the adhesive backing off of our mounting plates. All right, so those louvers are pretty much ready to go on. I'm gonna use the adhesive promoter now that they supply with the kit on these specific areas that I know those plates are gonna contact. This is just going to allow it to adhere even better to the rear glass. Good. Top. All right, once it's on there, apply some pressure to each of the mounting plates using the palm of your hand. And then we're going to proceed to apply more pressure with the louvers off. So take all the nuts off of your side with the washers. Okay, then we'll lift the entire louver set off. Okay, and back onto the table. Now it's important when the louvers are off to apply some additional pressure to these mounting plates, just to make sure they adhere correctly. And you need to let them adhere to the glass for 24 hours with the louvers off the car. Don't plan on putting this on and immediately driving the car right afterwards. It is not going to end well. All right, guys, we got all the mounting plates on the rear glass. Now we gotta wait 24 hours for these to adhere to the glass properly, so we've got some time to kill. Now, there's another thing I do wanna note. Willpak does recommend to put a clear bead of silicone around the perimeter of each mounting plate. And what this does is provide an additional barrier of protection against moisture, so hopefully no moisture gets under this plate and affects the 3M tape. It's always a really good idea, especially if you store your car outside. But for now, me, Cody, we got a lot of time to kill before we can bolt these up. All right, guys, good morning. It has been a full 24 hours. We've let our Camaro sit, and I just went around and inspected all of our mounts, and these things are solid. Now, it's just time to take our louvers, bolt them into place, see how it looks. All right, guys, here's the moment of truth. I'm going to gently try to lay these louvers on the rear glass, line up all these studs. Do the same thing over here. Oh, that is fitting very nice. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. Our louvers are on, bolted into place. The trunk lid clears perfectly, and I think these look freaking awesome on our Camaro. Now, there's one more thing to check. I know that most of you, if you're interested in a set of louvers for your car, regardless of what that is, you're worried about the visibility after you bolt these into place. But let me tell you, it's actually not as bad as you think. I'll show you. All right, guys, well, that's gonna wrap up this episode of our Project Camaro. I am super stoked with how these louvers look on the car. And if you haven't yet, make sure subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all of the progress with our Project Camaro, and I will see you guys next time.